Wait for some of you to hop on. My cheekbones look good in this light. If you're here, say hi, so I just know, because I know that there's always like a little lag before I see comments. I have this fear of like talking forever and not realizing that nobody's here, that there's some type of technical difficulty. Oh, hello. Okay. Hey. All right, there we go. All right. Yay, Hazard Stinson here. Typo Maiden. Typo Maiden. Why is your name Typo Maiden? I have to know. I have to know what that means. Anyways, Monday Fun Day. So for those of you that are new and for those of you that are not, we're going to be live here for like an hour and a half, and then we're going to take the show over to OnlyFans for a very, very different kind of live. Yeah, so if you're into that, if you want to see me from the, so this is like my brain and the face, if you want to see neck down stuff. I don't know how else to explain it. You could without breaking the rules, but yeah, you're going to go over there right after this. That starts at 8 p.m. Pacific. I love that a lot of you guys go over there, and then I always get messages like, it's always a strange transition at first for people to see kind of the juxtaposition of like me talking about super intellectual stuff here and everybody like really thinking and having like some type of like debate or conversation in the comments, and then going over there and getting really turned on and horny. But that's one of the things I love about doing this. And I love adding to that exposure, because I know some of you are like, oh yeah, I'm like used to it now. And now it makes sense, right? Because our brains like to categorize people and be like, okay, person that has things to say that I want to talk to. Okay, now I'm horny. And a lot of times that's, I think, one of the biggest factors that lead to people thinking that being sexual on the internet is like allowing people to objectify you, because a lot of people can't see past that once they see you in that light. But I don't think that has to be the case. And I think it's evident that that's not the case by the fact that so many of you like to come in here and like to have these kind of discussions and like to see me in that light. And I've noticed that some of you, the more you do it, then it just becomes like second nature. So that's one of the things I love to see and love to do, because obviously there's not a lot of people doing that online. But nonetheless, I think it's evident that a lot of the most popular OF creators, I always say OF because you have to say OF on TikTok and Instagram, but I can say OnlyFans here, are social media personalities, Twitch streamers. So that right there shows that once people like your personality or they like to hear you talk and how you are, that does lead to a greater attraction in general, and physical attraction, which we're going to talk about today. So that's actually a really good segue. It's a fusing of the bands Typo Negative and Iron Maiden. Okay, I don't even know what genre that is, so I clearly don't listen to it, but that's really cool. Show us your nails. I've been doing these same nails forever. I feel like I'm getting old now. I'm 28, so I'm not like 19. I'm not going to put like butterflies on my nails and shit. It's your favorite cutie. Welcome. So today we're going to talk about love and attraction. So this is like a hot topic, I think, in general in the online world right now, or maybe just what I consume now, because I am embedded in this world with you guys. And also just because of the nature of what I do, people are always like curious about, oh, what do you like? What kind of stuff do you like in a guy? And I'm not going to talk about myself specifically, but I want to talk about all of us in general as human beings, as a species, and humanity. Yes. All right. So I see some familiar names, and I also see some new names. So that's exciting. So it's always funny when I see the new names in here. Somebody actually messaged me on Instagram. They're like, I don't know where to go on your Twitch to see the sexual stuff. I'm like, like there's no sexual stuff. I may eventually try to play like video games and like cleavage for you guys, but not today. And also right now I like to lean because my boobs are big. I have decent posture, but right now I don't feel like it. I want to go like this. And we'll see plenty of that at 8 p.m. Pacific, jasminejafar.me.com, or you can just go on my OnlyFans name, Jasmine, JAZMEN00. All right. Make sure the chat's open. All right. So And also today, I want it to be heavily discussion based. So talk about your personal experiences, what you think. If you guys have questions for me, this is the time you're able to ask me, because I get flooded with these questions all the time and I don't really engage in any of my DMs on a one-on-one basis. Like, well, this is what I like. But you can ask me here and I will answer it. So I'm going through some of the big psychology of attraction theories first. And the number one thing I want to look at is the similarity attraction hypothesis. So people tend to be attracted to people that are similar to themselves. These similarities are in forms of shared values and beliefs, attitudes, cultural backgrounds, and even small behaviors like posture and mannerisms, which is really interesting because we've all heard the saying that opposites attract. And the truth is that they actually don't. At least, and again, this isn't like, I'm sure my audience isn't going to be making this kind of mistake of okay, Palm Tree Killer 69, welcome. I know my audience isn't really going to make the mistake of like seeing this as black and white and not being able to see nuance and variance. So like if I say, oh, people are attracted to people that are similar than them, and I don't think you guys are the type that'll be like, no, because I like this and I'm not like that. In general, these are trends that we see as a species and in psychology. So all right, guys, Palm Tree Killer 69 is my friend. So that's why I'm laughing. Okay. Although you wouldn't know from the way that they type, because a lot of people come in the stream and type like that. All right. So we see that people tend to date and marry across age, race, religion, social status, cognitive abilities, value, interests, attitudes, personality, dispositions, even drinking, smoking, physical attractiveness, even things like height, weight, lung volume, earlobe length, even. People tend to like things that are similar to them, and people tend to date across. That doesn't mean that, if you're not very physically attractive, you don't find somebody who is physically attractive, but we're talking about when people actually mate and date and how that works. Earlobes, yes. That is a study. I think is it Bus? I didn't write the reference down for that one, but I did for some of the other ones. You could look it up probably. So even like habits. So people who are really into fitness, they like other people who are really into fitness. Like, people people are attracted to people who have similar hobbies in them. So this religion, social habits, socioeconomic standing, level of intelligence, attitudes, vices. And this also affects longevity and how successful your relationship is, not just attraction. So I think we can all think of the stereotype of like the couples that like, who is it that says like Disney movies like always end at like the marriage, where it's like, like two people that shouldn't be together and love conquers all, and then they get married and then the movie ends. And a lot of times you don't see how that ends up actually causing problems later on. And it's kind of like that stereotype of our parents being like, oh, it's not going to work out. And you're like, oh, but I love him, even though you guys don't have any similar values and interests. And those things are actually really important. And I also think the older we get, the more we like realize that. And the more we're like, yeah, I don't want somebody that's just like fun, or like, younger women, they often want like the bad boy, the dark triad, like what is it? Machiavellianism, psychopathy, narcissism. And they conflate that with like masculinity. It's like a very narrow, distorted view. And then as they get older, they're like, actually, that's really not attractive. So even people have an attraction to people that look similar than them. So they've had studies where they've put people's face, like they've asked people to rank faces of the opposite sex, and they've done like technology where they've added in like some of their features into the members of the opposite sex, and people consistently rated the faces that were more similar to them as higher in attractiveness. So we're self-absorbed creatures. And I mean, obviously you can think of reasons for this, even evolutionarily speaking. A lot of evolutionary biology, they're theories, and it obviously by default involves like top-down reasoning. Like we see something that we're like, and we're like, oh, why could this be? And we like talk about why it could be. And there are theories that are more universally accepted by evolutionary biologists, like why we like sugar, why we like salt. But when it comes to mating strategies and sexual selection, it's actually not that cut and dry. But we do see some general overall trends, but then culture and time and uh, a bunch of stuff affects it. And we'll talk about some of that stuff. Hey, just hopping on. I can't wait for Veronica. I'm happy you're here. Oxytocin flooded relationship versus real connection. You know what else I was looking at? So there's a claim made by the red pill world about oxytocin. It's like which is involved in pair bonding, and that if you have multiple partners over time, that it reduces your ability to pair bond, and it's so thoroughly debunked. And it like for many reasons we can talk about that too if you guys are interested, but that's what I was looking into yesterday. It's based on one study done on prairie voles, which is like this type of rodent that their mating practices are actually nothing like us. They actually perform, they're one of the very, very, very few animals that form lifelong bonds. We don't. We're actually serial monogamists, as much as, you know, the Bible wants to tell us that we're not, and you have your one partner forever, which you can try to do that. But in general, we practice social monogamy and serial monogamy. So these type of rodents actually, even if they're together for like 24 hours, they cohabitate for 24 hours, they like form like a lifelong bond. And when the study was replicated in their closest cousin, a different kind of rodent, which I forgot what it's called, but it starts with an M, it wasn't shown. And then even with oxytocin, like for instance, you release oxytocin in all kinds of bonding relationships. So women actually produce a lot of it. One of the biggest releases of oxytocin is with childbirth, breastfeeding, etc. So by their metric, the more children you would have, the less you would bond. Like you would bond less with your third child than your second child than your first child, which obviously isn't the case. It would also have to be the case with friendships. Like it's not like you bond less with a friend that you like your seventh friend you met or your 20th friend you met than your first friend. So interesting. And it's funny because the study was actually shown to be the same for both men and women. And yet you always see them like extrapolate it and say that it just applies to women. Sometimes they say it applies to both. Depends what their views are and how they want to misinterpret and extrapolate the data. Which actually the researchers themselves were like, yeah, I don't know where they're getting this from. This is not even what we're talking about. Anyways, do new fathers experience the same oxytocin? No. So there's the other one. What is it? Vasopressin. I'm like not a, like I can learn, I could read about it, but once I don't even know how to pronounce this stuff. That's what the other chemical that's involved in bonding. And it's also, that's the thing, oxytocin and this are not just like it's just part of it, but they're actually responsible for a wide range of other functions. And so it's interesting when they try to extrapolate and be like, oh, you lose this, but you only lose it in love and bonding, but you don't lose it in all these other ways. It just doesn't add up. Do you believe in marriage? No. I personally don't believe in making lifelong commitments. That's just me. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I don't think relationships have to last forever in order for them to be successful. I think that like there's no finish line of like, you know, and I think the idea of being with somebody forever is very binding. And I don't like to make promises that I feel like I can't keep. And I know I'm not blaming anybody for getting married, because I do think that a lot of people, when they get married, they think that they can make this promise and that they can make a lifelong promise. My brain just kind of, I guess, knows better and is like, I believe human beings can only make promises for the foreseeable future, and your life is by default not foreseeable. So I don't even think it makes sense to make lifelong decisions based on current data anyway. And I think this like idea of death do us part, first of all, it's so embedded in religion, custom, tradition. These are things that I don't really make life decisions based on. So I would actually probably get married on because of the legal benefits, like, you know, taxes, insurance, bunch of stuff, social security, like estate planning, loss of consortium. For those of you who don't know, loss of consortium is it's like a claim you have when you're married. Like if your partner gets like wrongfully injured, you can actually sue for them taking your, like, let's say you can sue the company or whatever, or wherever they worked, for taking away your ability to enjoy your spouse in your spousal ways, like having sex with them. So not that that's like why I would get married, because that's actually very hard to actually win, and it's dumb. But I might get married for those reasons. But the idea that I would sit there and like just really promise hard to this person, like together forever and ever and ever, 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 ever till death do us part, I think that's like bizarre. That doesn't mean that I don't believe in long-term relationships, or that I don't believe in love, or that I don't believe in any of that. But I want to be able to fall out of love. I want them to be able to fall out of love. I want us to be able to not feel like we're stuck together forever, because that's what society tells us is how we are successful in our relationship. I think relationships can be great and amazing, and when they end, it's not a failure all the time. And I think if we're going to talk about the Matrix, I think that's one of the biggest lies the Matrix tells us. I would recommend waiting to get married to anyone to think about it. Yep, that's another thing that's a good idea to do, is wait to get married. People who get married before the age of, I think, 25 tend to have much higher rates of divorce. And yeah, if you want spousal privilege too, yes. Anyone who wants to share stories. So would you suggest a prenup? I would sign a prenup, and I would have my partner sign a prenup. 100%. I don't think, again, a prenup is a sign of we don't love each other. We like this idealistic, like love, like type of thing is cute, but it's not rational. And I think I told you guys, my like Myers-Briggs is like logician. So like I've never even been with a guy where I was like, we're gonna be together forever. Like that doesn't even go through my head. That doesn't mean I don't feel emotion, and that doesn't mean like I'm not like, ooh, like breakups hurt, like just like everybody else. But I don't have this idealistic view of love. I like to be like, I don't think it takes away from love to think about the possibility of things ending, because that is an inevitable possibility. Also, if you are going to sign a prenup, definitely make sure that you go to the right attorney, that there's adequate disclosure of assets, and there's a bunch of other stuff. I can talk about it if you want. Don't let her fool you. She's not a traditional woman. She exposes herself on Reddit. I don't think I've ever for 1 second talked about, I'm talking about right now how I don't even want to get married, bro. Read the room. Yeah, done that, and not the ideal resolution. Okay. Would you consider an AI lover? Say it's 2050 and the technology is as evolved as you can imagine. That is way above my head, and I don't think so. I think people like realness. Like people like real people. We may have part of our brain that's attracted to like idealistic AI, perfect, no flaws. But I think part of the reason OnlyFans is as popular as what it is because it took away from that mainstream like porn, like flawless, like the oil and the like no stretch mark bodies. And it took like just the girls next door, somebody like me who is clearly flawed. And people like that. So I think there's something attractiveness about humans and human flaws and humanity, and humanity isn't picture perfect. And this, like, I don't think there's anything wrong with AI, or no, actually I have some concerns with AI, but she plugged her OnlyFans and stream and started this one. We're all aware and we're happy to enjoy the intelligent discussion. Hop on board. Also, like, I mean, like, why would I get online and like pose myself as a traditional woman? I don't know what that would do for me or my followers. Imagine getting broken up with by an AI partner though. Can't back outside after that. I think the idea is they wouldn't break up with you. I am really fascinated in the success of AI dating sites, and even like there was that girl who created an AI girlfriend version of herself and made a killing of it. I personally, you guys know my take. I don't even do GFEs on my OnlyFans. And my sexting sessions are very like clear cut, like, okay, we're going to exchange pictures and blah, blah, blah. I don't even fake orgasm for video calls or sexting because I love authenticity, and it's hard for me not to be authentic. So I actually forego a decent amount of income because I don't provide those parasocial relationships on my page, but that's because I don't like them and I'm not a proponent of them. And there's plenty of other girls that provide that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that as long as both adults are consenting and they know what's going on. But I am like, hey guys, I love you. I actually do love you guys. I love talking to you guys, but I'm not going to pretend to be your girlfriend for 24 hours. That's just not what I want to use my platform for. It's going to take over the legal profession. Yes. That is, so it's funny because people are like, OnlyFans is not a sustainable job. And I'm like, I don't know if lawyer is anymore either, especially like transactional, which I never did litigation. So like, like writing demand letters, cease and desist, like just that kind of routine stuff. Even like it's going to help a lot of people, which I think this is a great thing, represent themselves in court. Because if you've ever, I don't know if you have, JB Smith, like worked in or clerked for a judge or, whatever. And you see some of those like petitions and stuff that come in from people who wrote them themselves. I think AI can be a big help to them. Yes. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I am very jealous if new law students don't have to fucking learn Westlaw and LexisNexis and all that shit. Takes out. I imagine this is how maybe. Well, you went to law school like. I know you're older than me, but I don't think you went to law school like super long ago before we had like laptops. Like in my mom's era, where in my mom's era, I think they had, but like most people, it was still new and a lot of people took like handwritten notes. Handwritten notes are actually a good idea. People who take handwritten notes end up doing better in exams. I didn't give a fuck because my handwriting's trash and I just wanted to type. But I imagine this is how they felt when the internet came about and we didn't have to go to the library anymore to do legal research. I bet they were like, oh, and now that's how I am with AI. And I'm like, you guys don't have to fucking learn how to do research. Legal Eagle had a great YouTube video about lawyers that submitted a brief using AI. Yeah, I saw that, and that is ridiculous that lawyers didn't know to fucking check. I think like Chat GPT can be like a new like Wikipedia that like you may start there and be like, okay, give me some general information, but then you always have to fucking look at like the references and make sure that you're actually citing and citing something that's legitimate. The fact that I think the lawyers that did that are fucking idiots and they deserve the consequences for that, because the fact that a lawyer would just trust Chat GPT without double checking is I'm a fucking I sell nudes for a living and I would be a better lawyer than that. Not saying that I'm a bad lawyer because I sell nudes, but imperfections are indeed sexy. However, I think a big part of sex is experimentation. I think the prospect of AI as a sexual partner would be interesting, as it would be a new form of reflection and novelty. I think so too. And I think there is a portion. So people look for different things. I can tell you as an OnlyFans creator, people look for all kinds of different things. And when people ask me advice as well, like, I don't know if Veronica is in here, for instance, she's a newer creator. I tell her, like, I think a way to be successful is to offer as many different kinds of services as possible that can appeal to people's different preferences. Some people want a one-on-one connection. They want to get to know me. They want to know my favorite food. They want to know this. They want to know that. Some people just want videos. Some people like video calls. Some people people just like all different kinds of things. So I think some people are looking for things that's more easily deliverable through AI, or maybe they're more interested in things that maybe could be better suited for AI as opposed to other people, right? Like if you actually want to get to know a person, that is part of what turns you on sexually, that may be harder to do with AI because you don't care what the AI's favorite flavor of ice cream is, at least to the same extent. But I think it's going to be fun to see how it goes. They still made us go to the library because they wanted us to know the techniques and process of legal research. Oh, well, in 2020, you said you were in 2001. I graduated in 21, 3 years. So by then they gave up on that. A judge made me do that once. So I was like, excuse me? She's like, go to the I was like, that is something I worry about with AI, right? learning, like it's like calculators. Yeah, you don't need to learn how to do long division because you could put it in the calculator, but the process of learning how to do long division trains your brain and makes you smarter, um, and helps you develop a skill that you don't develop if you just input it into a calculator. So interesting, interesting times we live in. Will you teach me Farsi? What do you want to learn? What do you want to know? I can say stuff in Farsi if you ask me. So yeah, so one thing I was talking about is the what is it? The the similarity attraction hypothesis. So we like people that are similar to us in like every way. There's something also called it's called implicit egoism, where we even like people. We tend to find people more attractive with even really like arbitrary things. Like if they have the same birthday as us, we find them more attractive. If they have a name that starts with the same letter as us, we find them attractive. Now, these aren't conscious things. Like I'm not like looking at a list of like people and I'm like, well, he's Brad and he's James and I'm Jasmine. Like you don't think of it like that, but implicitly we have a bias towards ourselves and the things we like. People, if someone has the same music interest in you, you are more attracted to them. It's kind of the idea of you see yourself favorably in general. A lot of us do. So you obviously think you have great taste in TV shows. You think you have great taste in music. You think your political views are the superior views. Otherwise, you probably wouldn't have them. So when someone else shares those interests with you, not only do you feel like you can connect with them, not only do you feel like you're more comfortable with them, but you also feel like they also hold more favorable views, favorable features, whatever. Assertive dating. Assertive. I always say assertive. It's assertive mating is a theory that is basically like the same thing, that we date people with similar phenotypes and genotypes as us. And this is not only shown in humans, but it's also shown in other animals as well. She's from Arkansas. Can't you tell? The concern I have with AI sex work is when AI became a sentient being and then deserved the ability to choose, not a possibility in the present, something about the future. Yeah, it gets super. I'm really interested in this, but because I'm not good at the tech stuff, I'm into the philosophy stuff. I'm like, well, what is sentience? When does something become sentient? Especially as an atheist that doesn't believe in human superiority in the sense of like, well, God told us we're better than all the animals and all this. Doesn't mean I always abide by that. I eat meat and I don't even think it's wrong necessarily to care about humans more than non-humans that have sentience. But what is sentience? What is it that AI would need to develop in order to have sentience? And then once they have sentience, what makes them so different than us? I'm a chess player and a beautiful Persian once taught me Shah Morda. I don't know what that means. Shah is king. I don't know. Palm tree killer. What is he talking about? Having similar views, interests, etc., gives you more to share with another person in romance or friendship. Yeah. So there's also the reciprocal liking effect. So you are more likely to like somebody who likes you back. So if someone finds you attractive, you're more likely to find them attractive. So I was talking to this about a friend forever ago because she was telling me, oh, I like these kind of guys, but these are also the kind of guys that like me. So if sometimes you think of your type, and then if that type also tends to like you, it could just be that you like them because you like you. We're honestly just fucking apes. Like we're fucking dumbass apes. And we think that we're like and we are more advanced, I guess, than other species. But at the end of the day, like we're fucking stupid and we like people better because they have the same birthday as us. Like that's like we're fucking idiots. Measure of a Man from Star Trek. TNG is basically a legal case episode covering that very time. I'm not a Star Trek person, guys. I'm nerdy, but my nerdyism ends with like stuff like that. Hey Driz, long live and prosper. Just thinking of that episode. Yeah, see, I don't know Star Trek. There's also this gain loss theory of attraction, kind of bouncing off reciprocal liking effect, that there's been studies where people have found like it's like one study they did where they overheard somebody and it was talking about whether they liked them from when they met them, they didn't like them from what they met them and they still don't like them. They liked them in the beginning and now they like them less, or they didn't like them in the beginning and then as they got to know them, they liked them more. And they found obviously that people really liked when people liked them all across the board, but they liked people more when they didn't like them at first and then they developed like they liked them later. So that is kind of the idea that winning people over who had an initial bad impression is more rewarding to us than someone who liked us all along. I feel like though, like when people are like, oh, I thought you were different. And then obviously the way that they find me now is more appealing than what they initially thought. Like I think a lot of us feel like good about that. And honestly, love and attraction is just about feeling good at the end of the day. Positive conscious experiences, love, warmth. We are social creatures. We form bonds. We actually do form pair bonds. And if you guys watch it's a long time ago, I can do a new one on monogamy, on whether us as humans were monogamous or we're not supposed to be monogamous. And obviously there's all these theories. We talked about chimps, we talked about gorillas, we talked about the shape of the penis scooping out the cum of other men. We talked about all that. This is a long time ago, but we could do like an updated version of that. And then what caused human beings to start forming pair bonds at some point in our evolutionary trajectory, which had a lot to do with how much it took to raise our young. As we grew more advanced as a species, and how we see that in birds, because they take a lot to raise their young too. That was one of the theories. There's another theory, like STD containment. Again, a lot of this stuff is theories, which is interesting because sometimes when you hear a lot of these crazy people talk about sexual selection and they're like, nope, this is it, this is done. And I'm like, no, this is not how evolutionary biologists speak about this. Like they're very hesitant to make these concrete, cut and dried, black and white claims because it's not black and white. People you perceive have characteristics you aspire to or admire or believe you lack and need compensation for. Oh, okay. Sorry. I didn't see the theory of complementary attraction. People you perceive have characteristics you aspire to or admire or believe you lack any. Yes, I was actually going to talk about that, especially when I talk about gender differences in attraction. That was where I was going to bring that up, but that's part of it. Okay, what are we now? There's also the proximity preference. So we tend to like people that we see more. Like, that's why a lot of people, I guess you could also say it's just logistically more possible and probable. People that you see a bunch of times, like it's basically like if you initially feel neutral or positive about a person, being around them will increase your liking for them. So if you're like thrown into close quarters with like a complete stranger, I see this a lot in reality shows. Like I used to see reality shows and I'm like, these people cannot fucking like each other. They're like, I love you, like from 3 weeks, right? Or from 4 weeks. But when you're put into these like close quarters with somebody that you may have like it's different than being in the real world. And a lot of times you can form, now I don't know how strong those bonds are. But I guess in more like a more natural setting, like somebody that's at work a lot of the time, somebody that's oh, you guys are talking about some episode. I'm like, what are you talking about? Somebody you meet at work a lot of the time. Oh, continue your conversation. I love when you guys talk to each other. Or at your school, or someone you see at the coffee shop every day, the cute barista, whatever. You tend to, the feelings of attraction you have for them obviously increase. Proximity will explain how often service industry workers hook up with each other. Yeah, a lot of people in the same school, in the same profession, in the same whatever, hook up with each other. And it's not just because, and you would think this would be different now because we have the internet and we have access to so many different kinds of people. That's true. But at the same time, if there's people you see consistently, you are going to find them more attractive than you would otherwise. So that is another part of it. So gender differences. So something we've heard a lot, which does seem to be true, is that men tend to place physical attractiveness higher on the scale of desirability than women do, and women tend to put resources and status higher. And so there's this idea that's talked about a lot, like hypergamy, which is women dating up in socioeconomic status and resources. And that's actually, it's interesting because now as women are gaining more educational opportunities, and more economic opportunities, how has that shifted? And it's interesting because you do still find the overall trend is that women, when it comes to socioeconomic status and income, they like to tend across or up. But you do see actually in Europe, when it comes to education, as women are actually becoming more educated than men, it's going down and down and down. Like women are more likely now to date under when it comes to education. And the idea is that this trend will probably follow when it comes to income and status too. It's actually already happening with status and prestige. And as time, like, so that's interesting. Now, I don't think it will happen with men and physical attractiveness. I don't see how, that will affect things, because there's two theories as to why this is the case. One is cultural, right? Women didn't have opportunities to make money themselves for most of human history. Their opportunities are diminished. Even now, like they know they want to have children and they want to raise children, and they're not going to be able to contribute economically as much. So they tend to want partners like that. There's obviously also an evolutionary basis for it. Men want women who are beautiful, and because that signals fertility and they can have offspring, and women want men who can provide for their offspring. So it's like really embedded. Like it's not like it's all evolution or all cultural, but there's probably like a mix. But as culture is changing, it's really interesting to see where that goes with this idea of men wanting women wanting men who make as much as them or more. And we're already seeing with education, at least, women are more and more willing to date down. I will say for me, I don't really care how much money a guy makes. Now, I would say I'm an anomaly because I make a lot of money. And even when I didn't, my parents made a lot of money, like not like they weren't like super rich, but they made enough that I never, like I always kind of had money. So I wasn't like looking for a man to do it really. But it could be completely different if that wasn't the case. At this point, I don't actually even want a guy that makes as much as me, because if he makes as much as me, he has to be in like certain industries or doing certain things that I don't even necessarily find attractive personally. And I care so much about other things, but I'm not the norm. Kind of like you going out with a waiter. Yeah, for those of you that I've mentioned it on a stream, and I mentioned it on my YouTube Q&A. If you haven't watched it, you should. I have a crush on a waiter. It'd be so funny if he like came across my content, but I don't think he will. I'm not that famous, but there's a waiter at this Italian restaurant I go to, and I always go when I'm high because I go after my massage, and I was taking edible before my massage, and I have no idea like why I'm like obsessed with this waiter, but I'm obsessed with this waiter. And he's not even like that physically attractive. He's not unattractive, but he just his demeanor and stuff. And actually, I think that's a good segue to something I was reading. This is also, well, that's kind of the same thing. So this is the necessities and luxuries of mate preferences. This is in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology. This is from 2002. And these researchers were looking at how, sorry, one second. Okay, wow, we're good on time. You like his confidence. Yeah, confidence is attractive. These researchers were looking at how a lot of the stuff we do when we're testing for attractiveness is we're looking at traits kind of on their own. We're not really looking at them like we're like, okay, where do you rank attractiveness? Where do you rank this? Where do you rank that? And that could bring out some problems, especially also when some people will rank them based on what they're looking for more, based on what they already have access to. So the example they use is like college girls are kind of like not saying they want somebody equal education or whatever, is them because they're surrounded with them. So they're like, oh, everyone kind of has that. College men also are not like, oh, I'm looking for youth and beauty, because they're surrounded by women who are 18 and to 25, whatever. So that can also, so what you're thinking about more can also affect it. So they wanted to see this like trade-offs kind of thing. And they wanted to look at necessities versus luxuries and kind of do it from like an economic standpoint. So the idea is that, people may have like a baseline, like there's a baseline of attractiveness that you may want. And then once they reach that baseline, then it doesn't really matter. It doesn't mean that you're looking for the most attractive person at the expense of all these other traits. And I think that's pretty obvious, right? So it's a lot of times when there's this simplistic, men just want youth and beauty and women just want resources, and that's like the end all be all. It's not. A lot of times people, they do care about that, and they actually do care about that a lot. But once you meet their expectations, then it's, as opposed to you being extra attractive, they rather you be attractive enough but also have XYZ quality. So that's kind of what this was looking at. Why don't you tell him you love him? Oh, wait, why? I didn't even read that right. He said, why don't you tell him he would probably love to have a chance? You guys, maybe was that a Freudian slip? I'm dead. I don't love him. I've seen him 3 times. I was telling JB Smith that last time. He told me he knows my order. This is a good sign, even though he never was actually the waiter that served me, but he knows that I get the gnocchi and Freudian slip. Maybe he'll be in my content one day, guys. And he was telling me like what other pastas I would like, and I was just like, okay, like I felt like a fucking idiot, but whatever. And also what I was telling him was that I actually never approach, which isn't like a principle I have that I'm like, I don't do this, but it's more of like just what I'm used to. And I think some of the cultural norms from my culture those are still like heavily embedded in me, and I haven't been as adamant about breaking through those stereotypes as I have been with clearly other shit, because I haven't felt them to be as necessary. But I don't have like let's see what my moderator says. If he knows your order without waiting on you directly, he's 100%. No, honestly, he seems to just be really like, he's the type of person that like other people would walk in and he would remember like something about them. Like that's why I think I like him, is because he's very like cognizant and like friendly. So okay, guys, this isn't all us helping Jasmine date this waiter. What happens at 8 p.m. Pacific time? I get naked on OnlyFans. Proximity is a huge factor in my opinion. Weirdly enough, I think it can happen online in certain social groups where members interact routinely. Yeah, I think so too, because that also ties into the similarity attraction hypothesis, right? If there's groups that people find that they're in because they're like the same things and they're very similar, then I think that would also link that into the equation. Sounds scandalous. Oh, okay. I'm like reading these weird. Does he have BDE? Oh, palm tree killer. Big dick energy. Did I not tell you about him? That's weird. Palm tree killer is my best friend, and that joke is because I always watch true crime, and he like made up that there's a serial killer here. It's like they're called the palm tree killer to like scare me. It was stupid. But anyways, I guess I didn't tell him about him. But yeah, there's this waiter at this Italian restaurant that I go to after my massages that I just like literally, and I go by myself to this restaurant all the time because you don't live here. And I'm just like, I just literally sit there and like watch him really high. So he probably thinks I'm very bizarre, and that's probably another reason that I feel awkward around him. I think he's Italian. I wonder if it's like his grandpa's like. No, because I used to go there a lot when I worked at my law firm, because it's close to the law firm I used to work at, and he was never there. And then I didn't go for like months until like, I want to say like 2 months ago, I started going again, and he was there since then. So, I mean, that doesn't really prove anything. Sorry for the delay. I just got done tutoring a classmate on torts. What are we talking? Which torts? Intentional torts? The fun ones? Look, we got all the lawyers in here. JB Smith, King of the Hunt, Typo Maiden. My best friend is really into Civ Pro. Actually, his favorite legal doctrine, I guess, is Rape Shield. He loves Rape Shield. Just one more thing about the waiter. Think about the contrast between the fact that you go nude live on the internet but won't ask out a waiter. I think this is huge. When people ask me, because I'm actually really shy, I never raised my hand in class. One of the reasons I didn't want to do litigation, don't like public speaking, wouldn't do moot court. But on the internet, there is like a barrier, right? So even like next weekend when I'm going to go be on like live, and all the interviews and stuff I've done so far have been at home. Like I've never gone to one in person. So if you guys noticed and I'm like nervous, it's because I'm so like, it's very different to be in person versus on the internet. And there are some people that are like, well, you shouldn't do anything on the internet you wouldn't do in person. Why? There's things I don't do in person because of an irrational fear that I'm trying to get over that I feel more comfortable doing on the internet. The solution here is not to just to just succumb to my irrational fears in both places. He didn't exist before 2 months ago. Red flag. Is that what that means? Do divorce lawyers make a lot? Some do. I don't think it matters. I mean, there are some fields that are just doing really well right now, like IP. But one of my best friends is a divorce attorney, but she works at like a boutique firm. I worked at a boutique firm too. We're not big law. Like my sister's in big law. My mom was in big law. My cousins are in big law. I would rather like be a street hooker than do big law personally. I hate that. I'm like a work-life balance person. My sister was just here. She's in big law. She was working the whole fucking time. Billing like crazy amount of hours. Just like court Jazz, put on your litigation face. What's my litigation face, guys? Okay. I don't know. Palm Tree Killer's gonna make fun of me for that after this. Thanks for the gifted sub. Okay, guys, I've been watching more Twitch per people, but not on Twitch, on YouTube. And I keep hearing a thing about gifted subs. And I'm like, I need to figure out what that is because I feel like I'm the worst Twitch streamer, if you even want to call me that, because I have no idea. I actually sometimes get like a notification from Twitch, like, here's your money. And I'm like, oh, I made money. That's one of the great things about OnlyFans. One of the best things about OnlyFans is that because I make such good money doing that and through my Snap and through my like sex work, that I'm able to just go online and fuck around without thinking about how do I make this as profitable as possible. And I hope that will inevitably come in the future, but I just want to chill with y'all. I will say too, streaming is very... Like I used to be like, oh my God, it's so easy. It's like tiring. Like I feel like after the 2 streams I do Monday night, now mind you, the second one does get a little wild and that probably takes a lot out of me. I'm like tired. Was just wondering one thing, what's the gifted sub passive income? What's your favorite video game? I have never played one. So you guys are going to be with me while I start this video game journey at some point. But I will say that I think I will like catch on quickly because I'm competitive. I'm like OCD about like, I think I've said this before, and this will, if you are of my age range, then you may know what I'm talking about. If you're older or younger, you're going to be confused. But back in the day, you used to go to disneychannel.com, like on like an actual fucking PC, and you would I would play A Stitch in Time, Kim Possible, and I was so upset. I had the highest score in the country. And if someone beat my score, I would not leave the fucking office in my house until and my username for baby girl 227 something. And so watch out. If I get into video games, game over. I hope you're investing your OnlyFans money, my coworker said. Well, first of all, I mean, that's not bad advice, but wrong your. We don't like the wrong your on Twitch. I don't know what the gift stuff is either, but thanks. Please sub to Jasmine Jafar on all platforms. Yes, let's pin Palm Tree Killer 69's comment. What are you going to start gaming on, PC or console? I don't know what console means. I had a friend that texted me like what to get and what to do, and I'm just going to go based off of that. You guys are also free to send me your suggestions. So my moderator says we will get you set up on Minecraft with an edible and you'll play for 6 hours. I'm just gonna really be, how is that the wrong your? You're saying I hope you are investing your OnlyFans money, so it's the first your that's incorrect. Your second your is correct. You could play games with strong story, sidestep with the competitive aspect. I've been like trying when I click on like Twitch streamers on YouTube and I see them talking and then playing a game, I'm like, what is like I have no idea what's happening. I don't like killing games or shooting games. I like games where somebody's like running, jumping, like collecting like coins, whatever. I like those kind of games. Jazz on Minecraft would be hilarious. Well, that could also be I could wear like little titty tanks and like do like play Minecraft for the first time with me. Like, you know, I could do the dumb shit. Did you just describe Mario? I've actually never played Mario, but I know how it looks like, and I would like a game like that. I used to love remember when like the iPhone like 2 came out and there was Temple Run? I was undefeated in Temple Run. It got to the point where I didn't know how to lose. Like I just wouldn't lose, so I just stopped playing. My son is like nationally ranked on that war game in console. I don't know what that means, but that's hilarious. Minecraft is the opposite of competitive. It's not even that I'm competitive. It's that I obviously whatever part of video gaming is like addictive in the sense of like I used to start over if I made one mistake. Like I used to start the game over because I just wanted to go through it flawlessly. Like I think it like brings out my mental illness. So maybe this is a bad idea. You should become a speedrunner. I don't know what that means. All right. Back on topic, but I mean, I actually don't have too much else. Like I have some stuff to talk about, but today's not like our affirmative action stream last week was super like we had a lot to cover. And we didn't even get through all of it. I was like, oh my God, I didn't read the whole Descent, and we didn't even get through the Descent. If I spell something wrong when I'm texting, I erase the entire message and start again. I'm really concerned. Okay, there are a few things that switching from law to this, and obviously I don't write anymore, and I'm really paranoid that my spelling has gotten worse. I don't know if it has, but I feel like it has, and it bothers me. Get to OF early. I don't want to get to OF early because a lot of people obviously there are planning on the time. Plus, I like talking to y'all. Anyways, so back to the necessities and luxuries of mate preference. So once they looked at what was so when your dating selection was constrained, you were more likely for men were more likely to place emphasis on physical attractiveness, and women were more likely to place emphasis on social status and resources. But once it wasn't constrained, like if you had options of like you had a lot of people who had a like base level of physical attractiveness, and if women had a lot of men who met their standard of whatever resources, then actually the preferences between the genders looked a lot more similar. And interestingly, this was something that actually wasn't predicted by the researchers, was intelligence also ended up being a necessity. So both men and women did want like there was a base level of intelligence that they required before looking at other traits. And then once, the dating market wasn't as constrained, they also like kindness was like a big second runner up, and they started looking at other things, creativity, whatever, all that stuff, personality. But so I copied and pasted one thing. So as hypothesized, women spent relatively more on resource acquisition and men spent more on physical attractiveness when choices were most constrained. When budgets expanded and choices were less constrained, there was less spending on these characteristics and more on others, such as creativity. Women and men differed most when their choices were most constrained, and conversely, were more similar in their choices when constraint was relaxed. Though not predicted, intelligence also proved to be a necessity. As budgets increased, women and men preferences were more similar as sex differences in attractiveness and status diminished. Other traits such as personality and kindness tend to be equally valued and prioritized by the two sexes. So this idea that men don't care about your personality is not true. Talked about the intelligence. Let me see. There's one part that I actually wanted to read. Okay. Having seen what buyers want, so they tried to make like a really make it analogous to like the economy, make like an economy reference. Having seen what buyers want, sellers in the mating economy should be in a better place to offer the right mix of products. Because women and men seem to search for sufficiency in status and physical attractiveness, respectively, it follows that beautification or career achievement can be excessive in terms of optimally allocating effort to increase one's desirability as a long-term mate. For example, in line with previous reasoning, it may be worth a woman's effort to improve her attractiveness up to a point, but further effort might be better directed elsewhere. For men, being a workaholic may not be as appealing to women as being gainfully employed and using extra time to develop other traits. Conversely, it should also be true that many actions will have little impact on improving one's desirability unless one meets the minimum standards of potential mates in terms of kindness, intelligence, and, depending on sex, status, or attractiveness. Thus, effort spent developing musical or artistic talent will not help much if one is unkind or one's appearance is poor for women or career outlook is dim for men. Honestly, it makes sense. Physical attraction can only take you so far in a relationship. Yeah, I mean, like, I'm so confused by like men who are like, would you just stare at each other? I just don't understand how. I mean, I'm not saying it's important. It's not important, but I'm saying like I don't understand how that's like I don't know. As you see, I talk a lot. Um, so I like the person to also talk and like say stuff that I'm interested in. So if they're attractive, like, and I've like, I mean, I'm 28 now, like it didn't, I had to learn this, right? Like there was times where I was like, "Ooh, he's so hot. Let me go out with him." And then like, I'd be like, why don't I fucking like this guy? Like I literally don't fucking like him, even though he meets my, um, attractiveness. And, I would try to look at what other people were like on, like, I was like, well, on paper, he's very this and that, but like, I just don't want to be around him like at all. And a lot of times it was because of that. And then I had a ton of guys, which like Palm Tree Killer can tell you that like, you would be like, what is she doing with him? And I would be like, I love him. And it was because we really meshed on the stuff that I was actually interested in. So, it's not as cut and dry at all. And I think I was telling Hazard Stint about this, but like it would a lot of times if you're talking about your dating rubric, like you have your rubric of traits that you like, a lot of the time those traits, you pick things that you like. I want him to be successful, I want him to be this, and I want him to be like whatever I want her. And then those are things that you can tell, right? You can tell what somebody's job is, right away. You can tell what somebody looks like right away, but you can't tell how good of a communicator someone is right away. You can't tell somebody's character right away. You can't tell about somebody's integrity right away. And those are the things that actually matter, because when things get tough, and they will inevitably get tough, I think I forgot who was saying this, but I love what she said. She's like, "What are you gonna do? Like rock yourself to sleep in their MBA?" Like, those things, how someone communicates their character in those more difficult times, is actually going to be what you should be looking for. But people usually end the analysis after the like rubric that they set for like, okay, they look good on paper, this, without looking at what those actually far more important things are. And I have, yeah, I've noticed that even in like, and for me, I actually am pretty good at that. I don't like people based on superficial things. Actually, I pretty much like, if I do like them based off superficial things, I know that's all I like them for, and I just don't really like them that much. But it's that other stuff that's more important. Regarding kindness, women I take out to eat, watch how I treat the waiters. Ironic, isn't it? Oh, that is like, if a guy is like arrogant, rude to waiters or anybody, I am like, even if my friend, like, disgusted, like that is behavior that I just don't like. I don't even like. I'm like this, and it's not something I'm proud of, so I don't obviously like it in other people. Just because of the way I was raised, like I like my luxury and I like my comfort. And if a guy is like that too, now we're just fucking like not fun people. Like, you know what I mean? Like I like a guy who like doesn't give a fuck. Like if a guy is wearing like even an expensive watch, I'm like, you. And even though I'm usually with an expensive bag, but I don't like that about me. Palm Tree Killer knows. I like talk to him once a week. I'm like, I hate my materialism, and he's like, shut the fuck up. But I really like don't. And I think it's just like growing up. There's like a lot that goes into it, but I like as JB Smith said, and other people, in men specifically, I actually don't like guys who drive nice cars. I'm like, why did you buy it? Like I'm not saying anything's wrong with you as a person, but I'm not attracted to that. Like this one guy that I was like kind of attracted to, and then he said he like sold his car and just like goes everywhere on a bike, and I thought that was like so hot. Like I just like that reignited my attraction for contrary to what you hear a lot of the time about, oh, girls when I get picked up in a night. I don't actually at all. Also, Jazz, I know you probably got a really busy schedule now, but it might be a good idea to try and be a little more active on Discord. We all love chatting with each other, but newer people probably like, oh, yeah. So what happened is I switched to using this phone primarily, and my Discord is on this phone, so I haven't been looking at it, but I that's definitely something I want to do, and I'm really happy that you guys are using it. So I can't slap the waiter in the face with a stack of hundreds and expect a second date. That explains almost everything. You know? Yeah. I mean, some girls like that. And this is something like they're like and a lot of these shows that I've been watching, to my great dismay, because I'm going to be on them, they talk about, oh, women are opportunistic and they're like this and they're like that. There's a strong selection bias there, right? I was looking at one study, and I think I mentioned this last week or the week before, where it was using the like pickup artists of the 90s, which was like the red pill guys before these red pill guys. And they did on a college campus. And then the second study was like the broader population, and they tested, they ranked, or they tested the participants on their level of sociosexuality, which is like your openness to short-term casual relationships. And then they looked at their level of the women's level of hostile sexism. Hostile sexism is like women are like just bad things about, like, women are manipulative, they're inferior, men are better, women, like kind of like some of the stuff like Andrew Tate is hostile sexism. Benevolent sexism, which I think they also displays, oh, women need to be put on a pedestal, they need to be protected, they're like these delicate little flowers, whatever. They found that these tactics overwhelmingly worked on women who are high in sociosexuality. So these are the kind of women that are more promiscuous, they are more prone to short-term relationships, and women who are themselves high in benevolent sexism and hostile sexism. So what happens is these men, they try these tactics on women and it works on those specific kinds of women, and then they think that's how all women are, when in reality that's just how the women around you are, because those are the only women that are attracted to you. So the women that are attracted to you are more likely to themselves think that women are manipulative, that they date opportunistically, that they only like men for their resources, and that they need to be protected, and they're so defenseless and weak, and they're much more open to actually casual relationships, even though these guys say that they don't want that, and they're always like, oh, these women are so promiscuous, they're on Instagram, they're fucking NBA players, blah 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 blah. And that's actually not true. The women you like are the ones doing it, or I think more accurately, the women that are into you are the ones doing it. So what is your view on the so-called alpha male that the conservatives are pushing that women want? Yeah, it depends. What is an alpha male? Like, it's the same, like, what is the high value? I don't like, and they all have a difficult time defining it, because you can't, like, that's the thing. If they can't define it, that tells you something, because they know any definition they pick is going to look fucking stupid. Like if they say, oh, a guy with money, so value is just how much money you have, like, oh no, then it's this, then it's that. They can't really define it. If you want to define it, let me know, but they have a very difficult time doing it. I woke up this morning with a follow notification from you, but when I clicked on it, it said you'd unfollow us. Oh, there is a fake account. I want to see if it's still up, because I reported it. There is a fake account, because Hazard Stint told me that too. And I'm hoping, since I'm verified, they'll obviously take it down fairly quickly. Isn't that me? No. Is that account still up, or did they block me? Let me check on my second account. I have 2 accounts, guys. And this person, they just copied my bio and everything with my beacons link. So to make it look like obviously it's me, and it's not. I don't see it anymore. So maybe it was on the other one. I don't know if it's gone, but no, I am not requesting to follow you guys. I think they blocked me, or they're banned already. It's this one, Jasmine Jafar with a underscore. Don't know if you missed my question, but do you have a genuine verification argument, or is it the Meta verified prescription? So mine's a genuine verification. If it was the Meta one, you have to have your full legal name, which obviously us OnlyFans girls are not going to do. Because otherwise I would. Like, I don't have an opposition. This is the thing, sex workers, we do not care about like looking cool online. We're just trying to fucking not be deplatformed. So actually, when the Meta verified came out, I was like, oh, I want to do it. But then it was like, you need to put your full name. I was like, fuck. So then I got verified the public figure way. So I have enough like Google presence, I guess, and they accepted it. So I do have a genuine verification. But if I could have done the other way, I would have done that too. I'm not pressed on being a celebrity. Not that I am. Let me get your next watch, AR, Walmart, Jazz. Let's get your next watch at Walmart. I don't actually wear watches. Attraction isn't necessarily indicative of relational quality either. Relationships are work, so we might be attracted to certain external factors in someone, but if we can't work well together, then the relationship won't last much beyond. Yeah, and I will say, like, as somebody on OnlyFans who I get messages every day by men thinking they want relationships with me, you don't. I'm a very specific type of person, and there's only like specific types of people that wouldn't like lose their minds dating me, because like I will respond to you like once every 5 days, and like it's just not like it. Oh, and I'm like, as Palm Tree Killer will tell you, like I have certain personality trait. Not that I'm like a bad person, but it's like he even says like if I'm like irritated and someone like breathes, I'm like ah! Like it's not easy always to date me, but people just see me and they're like, oh my god, no, you wouldn't. Like I shouldn't have to tell you that. And I even noticed this with values, like people are like, oh, I'm conservative and I like this. I'm like, okay, well, I'm fucking not. And they're like, oh, that's okay. I'm like, it's not okay. Crazy. My name is Jafar Jasmine. So we twins. Funny. That was my last girlfriend said to me after sex, best 5 seconds. Join light, had other things going on. That's okay. You can watch the replay. We talked about love and attraction. And we're kind of still talking about it, but we have 20 minutes left. Just stop by to say hello. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I don't know what Shoshona means. Somebody let me know. Guys, I had the most intense leg day today. I thought I was going to die. I took a nap too. I wanted to do more research. Thank you. Also, forgot to say, next Monday, I may or may not have a stream. I plan on coming back. I'm going to California for one of these podcasts, which will be Sunday night at 7. I'm not going to, don't watch it live. I wouldn't do that to you guys. I'll post clips or you can watch the replay. I care about your guys' brain cells. And I come back Monday. So depending on, I think I get back at like 3:30. So if I'm like, because the night before, this shit is 5 hours long. 5 hours long. And then we're going to have a flight early the next morning. Lana will be on with me. Maybe over the weekend, because we're going early, like Saturday, we'll both be there. Maybe me and Lana can do like a Saturday little stream. And if I do it, obviously I'll post about it on Instagram and my OnlyFans so you know what time. But those that are OGs, you guys remember that this actually started out as a shit Persian girl say kind of like podcast we were going to start. And it was me and Lana talking about different issues. You have to be there in person for the podcast. Lots of them are done remotely. This one you have to be in person. It's not too far from me. I want to watch it live. I want to take the red pill. All right, it's gonna be Sunday at 7 p.m. It starts. It's called Whatever. Pretty popular on. I mean, it's not popular to you or me because I had no idea what the fuck it was either. But it's a red pill. Yeah, text me on it, message me on Instagram. I'll give you the details. And then later in the month, we're gonna go on a much more contentious one. I was listening to them earlier. They were saying women shouldn't be able to vote, and like the one I'm going on next weekend is not this bad, depending on who else is on the panel. The other one is like crazy. I'm actually more excited for that one because obviously the crazier people are, the more easy it is to like debunk their bullshit. But we shall see. Length of the pause be started to get people tired and say things they can chimp clip and respond with prepackaged talking points. I know, right? Like, and sometimes people get kicked off. I'm not going to do anything to get myself kicked off. Like, I'm actually pretty like, you invited me on the show. I'm going to act very cordially. Like, but like, if you're interrupting me, then I'm also going to interrupt you. Like, I'm not going to sit there. I don't know what would get me kicked off, but if I did get kicked off, I would not care. Like, I would love to just be there an hour and a half instead of 5 hours personally, but I'm not, pardon for the tangent, but you keep referring to red pill people. I've yet to dive into the cesspool. Could you give a quick summary of a red pill person? Okay, so also, yeah, I want to clarify. Red pill means a multitude of things, and I'm talking about it in the dating world context, in the sense of, I would say it's an off branch of incel ideology. So incels are black pilled. Red pills are like Andrew Tate. Like they have like stringent views on gender and gender roles, and they have certain assumptions and stereotypes about women and the way women behave and what women like. The alpha male type of bullshit stuff that whoever commented that earlier was talking about, that's part of the red pill world. So they have all these ideas, like all women are like this. They have some theories, like some of them are really weird and they get super like, not scientific, but they get super into the weeds of pseudoscientific, I would say, evolutionary biology, like alpha fucks, beta bucks, just dumb shit that I hope I don't have to learn too much about because it kind of stems for the 2014, 2017 anti-SJW thing too. No, okay, so red pill can also mean just conservative in general, I think, but I'm talking about it specifically in this context. Yeah, it's a 5-hour podcast. Yes. I think the one they did yesterday, so they do one every Sunday and Tuesday, I think, and the one yesterday, because it popped up on my thing, it was 6. It said like 6.5 hours. I was like, bro, I gotta sleep. I feel bad for Lana because she's 3 hours. She's from Florida, so it starts at 7 p.m. my time Pacific, but it starts at 10 p.m. her time, and then it's 5 hours. So for her, it's like till 3, 4 in the morning, and then we have to catch flights the next day. So I may not have the fucking energy to come on here. I gotta have details on how to stream the second one you will be on. I love hearing that crazy bullshit because it's still so mind-blowing to me that people's brains work like that. Yes, I will give you guys the details. This will probably be the most intelligent live viewership they have if you guys are on it. So that'll be interesting. You can also, does he really believe we're in a Matrix type situation? Oh yeah, these people definitely believe we're in like a Matrix type situation, and everything that obviously doesn't coincide with their narrative is part of the Matrix. So these are people that it ends up being very hard to, and I'm not saying the one I'm going on, like there's only one host and then they bring on different people. The host himself, I would say, isn't like too, I don't know, from what I've seen, he's definitely not like the Fresh and Fit guys. But in general, like the Andrew Tater toxic masculinity world, they're very hard to obviously have conversations with because they just fall deep into their confirmation bias, and they're going to just assume everything you say that doesn't agree with them is all part of the Matrix, and things that do agree with them are the truth. And once somebody is at that level, if you don't have a foundation in evidence and science and logic and reason, then it's too far gone. You need to have certain foundations, right? So when it gets to the point where you're like, well, I have this research, here's the data. It shows that women are actually like this. Oh, well, no, that's because it was funded by universities, and universities are like, once it gets to that, there's nothing you can do. And then it just becomes battle of the anecdotes of, well, this is what I see. Well, this is what I see. And then it's just like, well, what do we do now? And then it like, for us, we're like, well, that's why you need more than just anecdotal evidence. But their audience is like, oh no, shut case, done. They don't care about, yeah, they definitely don't. I don't think they even know, like, these are not the most educated amongst us. And I'm not saying educated in the sense of like they have degrees, but as you can tell, everybody in here is like an intellectually curious person. Like, they want to know things, they care about things, they are interested in learning things. Their audience, I would venture to say, clearly isn't, because if they were, they wouldn't be able to watch this shit, because there are so many clear, just they clearly forego a lot of that, and it's very obvious, to the point where anybody who has any type of basis in any of that stuff would at least be like, let me check that. Let me see if that's accurate, right? They do a lot of conflating. They don't know how to interpret data. They'll say one thing and then they'll use that. They'll extrapolate that and make a claim about something else that isn't even related. For instance, I always see them go like, oh, well, educated women are worse because they're more likely to get divorced. And what they're getting that from is that women initiate divorces 70% of the time, and college-educated women initiate divorces 80% of the time. But actually, college-educated, so when two people are going to get divorced, yes, if the woman is college-educated, she's more likely to initiate it. But actually, college-educated women get divorced the least. That's one of the biggest things you should look for if you're actually trying not to get divorced. They are like almost, I think they're 78% or almost 80% likely to have their marriage last at least 20 years. And without a college degree, it's only 40% likely you're going to last 20 years. But they see how they completely conflated that. They took that and then they're like, oh, so educated women are more likely to divorce you. Actually, educated women are less likely to divorce you, but they're more likely to initiate a divorce if you suck, if you're going to get divorced, which makes sense because, so stuff like that, which hopefully I can call out. They use logical fallacies too. Oh, I'm hard pressed to like even remember instances that I've seen where there isn't some type of fallacy in what they're saying. Let me make sure time. Okay, we're good. Also, there's a lot of moving the goalposts when you present evidence. Yeah. They'll be like, nobody likes a girl on OnlyFans. And you're like, well, actually, a lot of people still, well, no real, they do the no true Scotsman. They do a lot of stuff like that. I used to be so willfully ignorant because I was afraid of the implications of certain ideas. Like, if X is true, then that's a serious challenge to my religion or politics. Yeah. And that's true for all of us. Like, you're not the only one. Confirmation bias is very normal. That's why I personally like to spend a lot of time consuming content I vehemently disagree with. Now, I don't like watching their stuff because it's beyond the realm of stupid, but I like watching like conservative pundits. Even I like watching religious debates. Like, it's funny because atheists have been shown to like know more about religion than religious people themselves. And that's because I think a lot of us, like, we do. We know the cosmological argument, the fine-tuning argument, all this kind of stuff for the existence of God. So it's not that we aren't aware of the truth. It's just not convincing to us. I put truth in quotation. Even if true, is that because they're more likely to be self-sufficient instead of being financially trapped? That's what I think. Now, obviously, I don't know that, but my theory, because they also always use that when women get promoted, they're more likely to get divorced. And I think, yeah, if you're relying on someone for resources, which is interesting because these guys constantly promulgate that, like, that is a successful dating, like, oh, women want resources, so you just have to support them financially and then you can do whatever. Like, yeah, but then the second that they don't need you to support them financially anymore, they're like, then they leave you. I'm like, yeah, because that makes sense. If you're picking people that are with you for money and then they start making money, so I think these women are less trapped, which is why when women do have more, and then they turn it into, no, they want money from divorce. When really, if you look at the divorce outcomes, women actually fare off far worse financially after divorce. Their standard of living decreases. They're more likely to experience poverty, apply for government assistance. and they're actually less likely to get repartnered than men, but men suffer more psychologically, depression, suicide, drug abuse, even sickness, like their likelihood of developing like cancer increases and everything. Women Men live longer when married, women live longer when single. What does that tell you? I think you mentioned steel manning your opponent's position when discussing logical fallacies. You'll never observe guys like these steel manning. Oh yeah, I actually am I like steel man. Like I never, because the problem is if you straw man somebody, then all they're gonna do is be like, "That's not what I said," and it doesn't go anywhere. It's boring. Straw manning works best if you are only relying on a fan base that you know is going to be very one-sided and it's going to like worship you, like like Trump fans, or I would say even their fans. I don't even want a fan base like that. I don't stream or talk in a way that would make you guys like that. So if I'm steel manning or straw manning people's points, one, I think most of you would understand that and you guys would catch it. I don't run a cult where people just listen to me, and that's why I don't like doing that. My moderator says you guys can have a watch party on Discord. Let's do it. I know I tried to learn about different religions because I was trying to find something to believe in before I realized, I'm good being an atheist. Yeah, a lot of atheists do that. Now, it's interesting because some of you in here, Hazerston is pretty open about it, but another person on here, and I'm going to let them say if they want to say, grew up far differently in the fact that they grew up in the fundamentalist church, and then they came out of it. And I'm always interested in their stories because I grew up pretty secular. My parents were like culturally Muslim, but they weren't I would say religiously super Muslim. So for me, it wasn't like this journey of leaving something and whatever. It was more like my parents would kind of be like, oh, don't waste your food. God doesn't like it. Like it was just stuff like that. So it wasn't like when I discovered that maybe there may not be one, that I was like, oh my God, this changed my whole life. Notice that the trolls aren't on tonight. Yeah, this would have been a good one for them. You heard her, guys. We got to return the rose. Yeah, that's me, former. Yeah, I didn't want to say if you didn't want people to know. Are you saying the cult is disbanding? You guys got to be a cult when I'm on this shit. You guys got to flood the chat or whatever. I know they stream on YouTube because that's where I see it, but I think they do it on Twitch and stuff too. And probably Rumble because they're all probably demonetized. Jasmine Rage. What does that mean? I know I've heard that, not Jasmine Rage, but I've seen Rage and I don't. You guys have to teach me. Teach me some, like, maybe we should do that. Teach me what I need to know to be an online person. We gotta pick to spam whenever she does. Okay, so I know that people pay money to have something read. I don't want any of you guys to do that, but it's so funny to me because, like, and it's like these are the same people that dunk on people who pay for OnlyFans. Like you pay $7.99 and you're about to see me fucking like butt naked, like twerking and like fucking myself, and yet they pay like $200 to like read a chat on live, like calling somebody fat or something. I'm like, and yet they call you guys the simps. I'm like, you just paid money to like they're getting content out of it. What are you getting? Start funding the Church of Jazz, the hype emote. I don't even know if I'm going to be able, like, I don't know how how it works. I don't know if I'm going to be able to see it or if they're going to be able to see it or what. Please sub to Jasmine Jafar on all platforms and watch her content. All right. Thank you, Palm Tree Killa. I will call you after my next live. Do you want to go on that one? People will hit the 500 donation limit. Huh? That's what moderator said. I didn't even know there was a limit. I really should get the OF account back up again. You should, especially if you want to do it in 4 minutes and catch tonight's stream. What are some of the basic tenets of the Church of Jazz? What is the Discord link? Moderator, please send D Hizzle82 the Discord link. Usha, she has fire content. Okay, I'm gonna tell you guys this. So Palm Tree Killa 69 is like my best friend, and he can tell you because a lot of you ask me, do you play with your boobs for us or do you actually like to play with your boobs? He can tell you with 100% certainty that I actually like will play with my boobs in my sleep and my pussy. Like not even in like a sexual way, like just like in a way. She literally does it all fucking day. I do. Like I'm literally like and I'll get high and I'll literally like be singing and just like slapping my tit. He's gay so he doesn't like appreciate it the way you guys would. But we're trying to change that. Can I get the Discord link too? Do I need to subscribe first? You don't need to subscribe to anything. It's just for yeah, you can get it, and if it's just for people like that are interested in like kind of this side of what I do. Yes, please send it to Veronica. She just keeps her hand on it to keep it warm. And he said I smile. Like I'll be playing with my pussy in my sleep and smiling. My internet persona is the exact same as my real life persona. Lewd bird noises. Have you been on any of my other streams? Is this your first one? How do we get the Discord link? So the Discord link is kind of invite only in the sense of like if you come to enough of these and I feel like you're like part of the crew, then I'll let you. But like those of you that are asking in here, I think you guys can get on. Definitely D with Hizzle and Veronica, please though. Yeah, I've been here every night and then. All right, send it to lewd bird noises. And yeah, send it to everyone in the chat right now who wants to get on it. Her pussy pretty. Don't send it to Palm Tree Killa. Wait, what are you trying to turn him by? We're joking. We're joking. We always joke that we want to have a kid together when I turn like 35. And we're wondering if we should just try to do it the natural way. But you guys, he says he can't have sex with me. I know. You believe it? Me? So we're working on increasing sexual attraction to each other. This is all a joke. Premarital hand holding. We hold hands, we cuddle. That's as far as we've gone so far. He said my boobs are over like too much. Y'all should dunk on him in the chat. What time is it? All right, we got like a minute. I didn't mean to open a can of worms by asking for this. My bad. No, it's good you did, and it's good that King of the Hunt mentioned that I haven't been on it because I haven't seen it in a while. Yes, that did happen. Your boobs are not too much. Yeah, what a fucking weirdo. You still have your old link on your Twitch bio. What do you mean old link? I think my moderator and me talked about it and somehow we fixed it, but maybe we didn't. Hand holding in front of the Lord? I mean, he's gay, so yeah. I know, but I feel like my boobs should turn him. Don't you guys think? Oh, okay. What do you mean old link? Because I thought I changed it. Okay, please go to OF and sub and watch her live. Please listen to Palm Tree Killa. I love when he lost it on Twitter telling people the next person to say shut up Wesley would get blocked. Patrick Stewart. Wait, who were we talking about? Well, if your boobs don't turn him, I'm not sure anything will. Yeah, some people are just really fucking gay. Oh, you stayed for my whole live. He's never done that before, guys. It's a real good friend for once. We got in this big fight because he said I talk with my hands too much. And it took us days to speak again. Well, me days. I'll join the website if I'm able to. If it doesn't let me, no. Thank God you told me that because I'll make sure not to put it on that setting where it doesn't allow my friends to join. It's working. He stayed not long now. Who has her Discord? Yeah, dude, drink your pussy juice and is still gay. That's honestly just impressive. You don't understand how like beautiful this conversation is going to be to us later. I didn't receive the link either. Okay, moderator, can you? I have to get going to the next live, but my moderator should be sending you guys the links. Your best friend wasn't even subbed to my OnlyFans? No. I'm not gonna let him sub to my OnlyFans because he's going to make fun of me. Like the pictures yesterday of me in the pool, he said look like I'm an SVU and I'm a dead body. We're like, you know, you're your best friend, like. And also he's really into like fashion, and so he thinks like you guys want to see me like my pussy like spread on a like Dior bag, and you don't. So okay. I must get going. Let's just stretching, getting ready. Let's go. Okay. Let's ban Palm Tree Killer for the rest of the live. I'm just kidding. But let's go to my OF and I will see you guys there if you're into that. I can't wait to get out of this because my shoulders are doing a lot of work right now. Yeah. Okay. I will see you guys there. Obviously, if I'm going to be here next week, I will I'll have my moderator schedule it. I might do a live with Lana on Saturday. Other than that, bye. Yeah, you did join a little late, John.